Imagine waking up to discover an enemy army, 185,000 strong, defeated overnight by a single divine force. No swords were raised, no human hands involved, just an angel of the Lord. This incredible event, recorded in the Bible, has captivated believers and skeptics alike for centuries. But what if modern discoveries in Jerusalem could provide new insights into this awe-inspiring story? Let's unravel the clues behind one of the most dramatic and miraculous battles in history. Jerusalem under threat. The story begins during the reign of King Hezekiah, ruler of Judah. Around 701 BCE, Judah was a relatively small kingdom nestled in the rugged hills of the southern Levant. It was surrounded by powerful and aggressive empires, the most dominant of which was the Assyrian Empire. The Assyrians were a formidable force, notorious for their military prowess and unrelenting conquests. Their empire stretched across vast territories, encompassing modern-day Iraq, Syria, Turkey, and parts of Iran and Israel. The Assyrians, led by King Sennacherib during this time, were masters of warfare. Their armies were equipped with advanced weaponry, including iron swords, spears, and siege engines capable of breaching even the most fortified walls. They also used psychological warfare to terrify their enemies, often employing brutal tactics such as mass deportations and public executions to crush any resistance. The mere mention of the Assyrian army struck fear into the hearts of nations. By 701 BCE, the Assyrians were in the midst of a massive military campaign to expand their empire further into the Levant. City after city fell before their might. Lachish, one of Judah's key fortified cities, had already been devastated and captured, its inhabitants slaughtered or enslaved. The fall of Lachish sent a clear message to the remaining cities. Resistance was futile. Jerusalem, the capital of Judah, was now the last remaining stronghold. The city's walls offered some protection, but with most of the kingdom already under Assyrian control, the outlook was bleak. Supplies within the city were dwindling rapidly, and the pressure on its people was immense. Famine and despair loomed over the inhabitants as they watched the Assyrian forces encircle their city, readying for a siege that could last for months or even years. Under such dire circumstances, surrender would have seemed like the only rational choice. The Assyrians promised safety to those who submitted willingly, while rebellion was met with annihilation. Yet King Hezekiah was not like other rulers. Where many would have capitulated out of fear, Hezekiah turned to faith, strategy, and determination. Hezekiah, a king of faith and action. King Hezekiah was not an ordinary leader. He was a man of deep faith, described in the Bible as someone who trusted in the Lord, the God of Israel. 2 Kings 18-5. He was also a reformer, committed to eradicating idolatry and restoring worship of the one true God. His reforms included destroying pagan idols. He removed high places, shattered sacred pillars, and even destroyed the bronze serpent created by Moses, which had become an object of worship. Reviving temple worship. Hezekiah reopened the doors of the temple, purified it, and reinstated sacrifices and festivals. Strengthening Jerusalem. He fortified the city's walls, constructed new defensive towers, and built an underground water system, Hezekiah's tunnel, to ensure a steady water supply during a siege. But Hezekiah's greatest strength was his unwavering trust in God. When faced with the Assyrian threat, he didn't panic. He turned to prayer and sought guidance from the prophet Isaiah. Assyrian threat. Sennacherib's siege. The Assyrian king, Sennacherib, was a military genius and a master of propaganda. His armies had already defeated the northern kingdom of Israel and several other nations. His next target was Jerusalem. Sennacherib's strategy included both military and psychological warfare, encircling the city. The Assyrian army laid siege to Jerusalem, cutting off supplies and instilling fear among its inhabitants. Mocking God. Sennacherib sent his spokesman, the Rabshakeh, to deliver a public message, ridiculing Hezekiah's faith in God. He declared, Has the God of any nation ever delivered his land from the hand of the king of Assyria? 2 Kings 18:33. Propaganda and fear. The Assyrians aimed to weaken morale, urging Jerusalem's residents to surrender by promising them safety if they submitted. Despite the overwhelming odds, Hezekiah refused to give in. Instead, he spread Sennacherib's threatening letter before the Lord in the temple and prayed, asking for divine intervention. Miraculous victory. The angel of the Lord. The Bible recounts what happened next in one of the most dramatic verses. That night, the angel of the Lord went out and put to death 185,000 in the Assyrian camp. 2 Kings 19:35. The exact nature of this event remains a mystery. Some scholars speculate that it could have been a natural disaster, such as a plague, while others believe it was a direct supernatural act. Regardless, the result was clear. The Assyrian army was decimated, and Sennacherib was forced to retreat in shame. Interestingly, Assyrian records such as the Prism of Sennacherib confirmed the siege of Jerusalem, but omit any mention of defeat. Instead, they boast about trapping Hezekiah like a bird in a cage, but no victory is claimed. This conspicuous silence aligns with the biblical account, suggesting a catastrophic failure that the Assyrians preferred not to acknowledge. Archaeological discoveries. Modern archaeology has provided intriguing clues that support the biblical narrative. Some of the most significant findings include Hezekiah's tunnel. This 1,750-foot-long tunnel, carved through solid rock, is a testament to Hezekiah's strategic brilliance. It ensured a continuous water supply to the city during the siege and can still be visited today. Assyrian artifacts. Excavations near Jerusalem have uncovered Assyrian arrowheads, weapons, and other relics, indicating the presence of a large military force. Mass graves. Archaeologists have discovered ancient burial sites that could correspond to the aftermath of the angel's intervention, where thousands of soldiers perished suddenly. Lachish reliefs. Found in Nineveh, these carvings depict the Assyrian conquest of Lachish, a city in Judah, but conspicuously avoid detailing the siege of Jerusalem. Historical interpretations and theological lessons. The story of Hezekiah and the angelic victory over Assyria is not just a historical event, it's a profound theological lesson. God's sovereignty. The defeat of the Assyrians demonstrates that no earthly power can stand against God's will. Faith in action. Hezekiah's reliance on prayer, combined with his practical preparations, shows the importance of balancing faith with action. Divine justice. Sennacherib's arrogance and blasphemy were met with divine retribution, highlighting the consequences of opposing God. How the event changed history. This miraculous victory had far-reaching consequences. Preservation of Judah. Jerusalem's survival ensured the continuation of the Davidic line, from which Jesus would later be born. Shift in power. The Assyrian Empire, though still powerful, never fully recovered from the humiliation. Within a century, it fell to the Babylonians. Legacy of Hezekiah. Hezekiah's faith and leadership became a model for future generations, celebrated in both Jewish and Christian traditions. The angelic victory over Sennacherib's army is a timeless reminder of God's power and faithfulness. It challenges us to trust in divine promises, even when circumstances seem impossible. What do you think about this extraordinary story? Could it have been divine intervention, or is there another explanation? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more fascinating explorations of biblical history and faith.